Hello. Today's topic is about lithium phosphate batteries for your RV or your travel trailer or your boat. And when I installed the system in my motorhome, I originally went with an all-in-one solar generator system. And I found out very quickly that it's big, bulky, not upgradable, and when you do want to add capacity to it, you needed to buy extra big, huge batteries with big, bulky cables, and trying to fit that in the space that I have in my motorhome was not going to work. So then I installed a Victron system, and I installed 100 amp hour batteries connected in parallel. And what I found out very quickly is there is a lot of confusion when it comes to this setup. When you have two 100 amp batteries, yes, you are getting 200 amp hours of service out of them or capacity, but you are only going to get 100 amps of DC power going to your inverter. And the problem I ran into is I wanted to run my air conditioner and my microwave, so on, and they required more than 100 amps. So I kept getting the 3,000 watt inverter kicking out because it was getting a low voltage error. And so I had to sit down and say to myself, well, what am I not getting here? Well, what I wasn't getting is that you can combine a bunch of batteries together, but that isn't going to give you the power you need. It'll give you the length of time you have power, but not the power. Now let's look at the next scenario and see what we have. So then I took out the 100 amp hour batteries out of my RV. There was 3 of them. And I was lucky enough that I purchased them for a pretty good discount when I did. So I didn't lose too much money in this scenario. And I was able to buy these Power Queen 300 amp hour lithium phosphate batteries at a discount on Prime Days for Amazon. So I made a mistake in the beginning, but I'm going to be okay financially as far as that goes. So in this setup, you can see it will provide enough power to give me 200 amps going into my inverter, and I'm going to have 600 amp hours of capacity. Now, I've done some tests, which I'll do in another video, where I can run my air conditioner with no problem at all. I can run my microwave with no problem at all. And I can actually run both of them together, because even though the BMS on these 2 batteries is 200 amp, they have a little bit of leeway on startup. So I'm able to start up both of those devices, and then they run around 190 to 200 amps when they're running. So both of these batteries are performing excellently as far as providing what they say they're supposed to. And I was actually able to fit them in where the 100 amp hour batteries were sitting in my motorhome. Mind you, I had maybe a half an inch around the whole area left over after doing this. And I had to do some upgrades on some fuses and such, which we'll look at soon in the next slide. Now, the reason I picked Power Queen is because they have a Canadian presence. The batteries were shipped from Canada, actually not very far from where I live, and that was very important because even though they're Chinese made, there are people to get a hold of in Canada, and that was important. The batteries that I had previously were from another Chinese company, and there's no phone number, there's no Canadian presence. If you needed warranty, you would have to ship the battery back to them, and that was a real big problem. So let's look at the next slide, and I'll show you a little bit more of my setup with my shunt, etc. Okay, so in this slide, you can see how I've hooked everything up in parallel, and I've gone with the bus bar setup. And the reason I have is because this is the best way to hook up your shunt. Now I have Victron equipment, and I also use Renogy equipment in my build. And by doing this, I have the negatives from the two batteries going to one bus bar. And then from there, it goes to the battery in on the Victron shunt. And then from the system out on the Victron shunt, that goes to another bus bar. And from that bus bar, it goes to my inverter. Now, I have a two inverter setup. I have a Victron 1200, which runs my fridge and my Starlink and some other battery, other fans and lights and such in my system. And then I have a second inverter, which is a 3000 watt Renogy, and that is what runs my air conditioner, hair dryer, cooktop, and microwave, and anything else that that we try to use in the RV, and we've been able to successfully run them all with this combination of the two Power Queens put together in parallel. So I'll do a future video, and I'll show you all of this scenario real time using the Victron Bluetooth app, and I'll show you the power usage and what's happening with the Power Queen batteries and the devices and the setup in my RV. Well, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope that this might have helped you be not so confused when it comes to this stuff, just like me. And I wish you all safe and be healthy and well. Thank you.